Disclaimer, this is audio horror fiction. If darkness or the creatures it holds scares you, leave now. Still listening? Good, then let's begin. My dad got a new job in another state when I was in the middle of my 5th grade year. We finally moved in late October, so I'd be starting at my new school in November. I was dreading going to this new school mainly because I'm extremely introverted and shy. The school I enrolled in also had a bully-free zone sign, which, being the naive kid I was, made me actually think it was bully-free. I was wrong. My first day of starting the new school was dreadful. Once I walked into the room, judgmental 5th grader eyes stared at me as if they had never seen another human. But that's beyond the point. My mother told me that she would drop me off and pick me up at school every single day because she was a stay-at-home mom. That took a slight sliver of stress off until I met a kid who was also in the pickup lane. The pickup lane was in the lunchroom. Each grade had a separate lunch table that they'd sit at. So 5th grade was at one table, 4th at another, so on and so forth. There were only a few other 5th graders that got picked up, so I really didn't have many people to talk to. There was this one kid though. He had a dark look in his eye, and he wore the same sweatshirt and sweatpants every single day. I remember him always banging his fist against the table whenever someone put their hand on it, which made the table shake most of the time. Fast forward to around December 15th, a few days before Christmas break. I didn't have many friends, but these two girls named Amy and Melody were quite friendly, and I realized we had a lot in common. One day at recess, we were all talking, and Amy happened to bring up the kid at the lunch table named Carlos. Apparently, he had a crush on Amy, and Amy knew this, so she told me. She explained that he was a creep and that I should stay away from him. Speaking of this, I remembered I'd always see him chasing those of younger ages and grabbing them. The teachers saw and they didn't do anything about it. That day, I'm sitting in the lunchroom waiting for my mom to pick me up. Not many people are there, so I sat across from Carlos. He starts telling me that he saw me hanging out with Amy and Melody. I don't deny and explain that the three of us are friends. With the dark and deceiving look in his eye, he tells me, "I'm going to kill you. If you ever talk to Amy again, I'll kill you." I'm immediately nauseous and feel lightheaded. As a young tyke, I was taken off guard and scared to death by this person's threat. I didn't think it was a joke, and it happens to be that it wasn't. It was December 19th. It was also the last day of school before Christmas break. I had been avoiding Amy for the sake of avoiding more of Carlos's threats, but eventually she gets suspicious and asks me what's wrong at recess. I explained that Carlos threatened me, and I was scared. I soon realized that I needed to tell my teacher, so I did just that when we went back inside for the Christmas party. She wrote down his name and his teacher's name and assures me that she'll take care of it, which she failed miserably at doing. It's now February. Every time I go out to recess and see Carlos, I'm scared to death. At every chance he has, he will stare me down and attempt to chase me, but every time he tries, I go to my friend group. Yes, I made other friends, and he stops. This may seem overdramatic, but the feeling of dread when you have to look around every 5 seconds to make sure you don't die is terrifying. One day, I'm playing hide and seek with my friends. My school has a fair amount of trees in the back, so I hide behind the trees, catching up with my breath after running for a hiding place. Out of the corner of my eye, I see someone creeping up near me. Lo and behold, it's Carlos. My stomach dropped to my feet. I don't move immediately, but just stand there. He starts walking faster towards me, and I run straight for a group of people. It's a fair distance to anyone's sight, which is actually really dangerous because if there was a stranger with a child, nobody would be able to see them. My adrenaline kicked in and I was running faster than I probably ever have. It's interesting how when you're running by choice, you're usually pretty slow, but when someone's chasing you, it's like you have a whole other energy impact, making you run faster in fear. I make it to the group and he leaves. With the creeped out feeling, I try to explain the situation to my friends, but they literally don't listen and laugh. Let's just say this irked me quite a bit. After this incident, I avoided Carlos. Most times he'd attempt to chase me, and kept telling me that one day he'll find me and kill me, when nobody else is around to run to. One day I was in school when I got called to the front office. When I got there was 2 police officers and the principal standing there. They asked me if I had any threats from Carlos, and I tell them the story. They then explained to me that they found a dagger in his backpack, with 2 names on a piece of paper next to it, with my full name and some other kids. He gets expelled, and that's all I know. That was the last time I saw him. In my 7th grade year, I was with the same friend group visiting a friend who had moved away, who was in our friend group in 5th grade. I get a notification that a user on Instagram wants to follow me. It's Carlos. I immediately block him. My friend, who goes to his school, tells me that he's in a special group and is much more vile and says much more sinister things than he used to. This story may seem very minor, but he was a stalker during my school days. He'd try and find me, would say threatening stuff now and then. It may not be scary when I'm telling you this, but when you're put in that situation, it's horrifying. So Carlos, if you're listening, let's never meet again. Thank you all so much for listening. If you enjoyed this story, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to help feed the dark machine. If you have a story that you would like for me to read, check the description below for details. And don't forget to share with other fans of horror.